All right, welcome back. As we continue to go inside the courtroom, we'll go back in just a moment here, if we can, of the murder trial of the three accused in Ahmaud Arbery's death. There is an investigator on the stand there, and it's really a lot of house keeping at first, Mike, but we did learn some things.
Yeah, she was showing some pictures, and we must warn you once again, this is a very graphic trial, so some of the testimony, some of the pictures, and some of the video could be graphic. We're doing our best to cover it up as it comes on the screen. So if anybody was offended, and they saw the body of Ahmaud Arbery, which was tough to watch. I mean, I can imagine being the mother, Wanda, in that courtroom right now and seeing her son laid out on that street, and obviously the jury members and whatnot. So you saw some of the reaction of the defendants as well. But this can be very graphic, so we just got to warn you about that as well. So if you have little children who might be watching, who might be curious, teenagers, whatnot, you might want to let them know that and be aware of that. But yeah, and the investigator is Sheila Ramos. She's a state witness, Glenn County Police Department, been there for 6 years. She was on the scene, taking pictures of the scene, and prosecution obviously stating their case and doing what they can to make sure that justice is heard in this case. So once we're able to get our situation taken care of, where we can actually cover up some of those graphic videos and some of that graphic testimony or those graphic pictures, we will take you back inside that courtroom very shortly, as the state continues to put on its case against those three defendants in the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. But once again, Sharon, you saw it. Just seeing there, it's just hard to watch, seeing that. Yeah, we saw the video obviously numerous times of him running down the street and then being shot, and then a lot of times right after that, the video has been stopped so many times, so we haven't really actually seen the actual shooting. But to see him laid out on that pavement, I mean, covered in, I mean, I have no words. I have no words.
Yeah. And so a couple of things. You're exactly right about what we intend to do. It's our duty on behalf of our viewers to give you the option not to see that horror. It is an option that Ahmaud Arbery did not have on that day. It is an option that his mother, sitting in that courtroom as his only voice, his only eyes and ears left, must do. She has shown and told us that she must be there, so our hearts go out to her. But one of the things when we talk about that footage, right, and the investigator Ramos taking the pictures, the injuries horrific, holes blown right through this young man who was just out for a jog, distractions. When you have this kind of evidence that the jury must see, right, the 12 men and women, only one black person on that jury, must look at this. And in some cases, it'll be frame by frame. Other cases, they'll let it roll. They'll stop. They'll talk about it, the attorneys, as they present their case. But I want to talk a little bit about distractions, because it's something that we talked about with Candace, and I think that's where we left our conversation at the top of the hour. When you have this kind of horrific evidence, the defense does what any good defense lawyer will do: distract, pause. They'll tell you their clients were on defense that day. And if you're not careful, if you don't see that horrific evidence play out in real time, you can start to believe the lie. We're lay people. I can call it exactly that. We're not inside a courtroom, but we're watching very closely. You start to believe those things instead of the truth. A man who did not know his assailants, who was out on a sunny Georgia day jogging as he was tracked, stalked, and hunted. And we've seen that in other cases. Zimmerman case was not, he was not a police officer, though he was acting in that capacity. In that regard, I would say these three defendants are going to try to tell you they were too. So I do think that you want to juxtapose the footage, the evidence from certain angles, because remember, we got the body cam footage from the officer last week, day one. And now we have some footage, some photos to go with it. So it does seem that if you look at that directly, you'll be able to keep in your sights just the truth, just the truth. Make whatever judgment this jury will about that truth, Mike, but it's the truth that has to be preserved.
Right. It has to be. And they're doing their job of making sure that truth is out, putting the facts out there, putting the pictures out there, running the videos numerous times, and telling that story. And looking at that picture and seeing that once again, that's something that's going to be embedded in my memory for a long time, just like that video will be. That man didn't have to die. He shouldn't have died that day. He shouldn't have died at all because of what happened there. Let's bring in Candace Kelly, who's still with us, standing by. She's our justice correspondent, obviously. She's been watching. She sees the pictures as well. Just set for us what the prosecution is setting forth as far as presenting their case. Sharon kind of pointed it out just a second ago, but in your opinion, what is the state doing here with these pictures, with the video, just continuing to show it the way they're doing it right now?
What this investigator is doing is taking us to the scene. You have to get to the day in terms of what was happening. We will now be able to see how far he was running, what he was seeing, where things ended up after the shots were fired. What did the scene look like? Because according to the records, Ahmaud was being followed for 5 minutes. That's a long time, which, by the way, if you are running away from someone for 5 minutes, again, how much of a threat can you be? So they're taking you to the scene, to the neighborhood, so that you can get a sense of how it actually played out that day. Now, she described the aftermath, but in addition to that, we get to kind of see the surroundings of the neighborhood, where they're going to go into, where he started, where he ended up. And now we get to see what the scene actually looked at. She is taking us there, and that's what prosecutors want the jury to do. They want to take the jury to the scene of the crime without really physically going there.
Yeah, and Candace, we're almost out of time, just about 2.5 minutes left, but I want to talk more about jury fatigue and where you sit as a jurist, you know, in your legal mind, because it's one thing to take them there, this jury of 12 people. We don't know their backgrounds, and they can't unsee, as Mike suggested a short time ago, what is presented, the horror that's presented to them. So when everything hinges on this footage, what do you do, and when is too much?
Well, listen, one thing about these jurors, and they know this, if it is too much, they can ask for a break. They can actually ask for a break. I mean, think of the viewers or you and I who are looking at this and need a break right now from those pictures. They're going to be inundated for the next few weeks from 9 to 5 with this. It is a lot to ask of a juror to look at a dead body, a young person on the ground in blood. They can take a break. They should ask for a break. And that is okay, because there is such thing as jury fatigue. And we don't want that to happen, because we need them to be awake, ready, and at 'em to assess the evidence accordingly. So if there is any problem that they're having, they can get a break and should ask for it. It is their right to do that. And they should, if they want to carry out justice in the way that it should be, with them being, 100% undivided attention.
This is going to, I mean, just seeing that once again, the impact that it has. It's one thing to see the video, Candace, but then to see the aftermath. It'll be hard for the defense to actually say that that was self-defense in any kind of way when you see just the bloody body laying on the street, and the impact and the trauma that that body suffered in its last minutes there.
Yeah, Mike, you're so right. And listen, even if he did do something, which we know he didn't, it still wouldn't have justified that result. And he didn't do anything. So what was the motive here? And that's really what we're going to get to in court. Why did you take it upon yourself to drop everything in your driveway that sunny day and have the privilege and the wherewithal to grab a shotgun? Mike, I know you go running. 5 minutes is a long time to be running. And have somebody behind you. He wasn't a threat to anybody. He was running away. He didn't go to the left or to the right and try to escape. He just kept running on the road, probably wondering, why are these people following? It's just, it's gut-wrenching to just see that would be the result. It's just a shame.